very good morning. In fact, it's a warm morning here at Mugello for the second race, the first round of the all-new Euro 4 Championship for 2023. Great to have your company. This is the second of three races here this weekend. It's the first of three rounds for this all-new championship in beautiful Tuscan sunshine, what was the home of the Formula One Grand Prix of Tuscany 2 years ago. A cracking race yesterday, which was won by Ugo Chukwu. But before we do get to that, let's go to Rashid Al-Daheri, who's down on the grid with Laura Cola.
A strong drive yesterday, well inside the top 10, but a bitter post-race penalty. How do you plan to recover in race 2?
Well, we analyzed well the last race, and we made a few tweaks to make sure to have a better pace today, and we'll do our best to gain as many positions as possible and also learn as much as possible for race 3.
Thank you.
The Emirati in his first season of car racing, yes, he did finish inside the top 10, but a jump start gave him a 10-second penalty, which dropped him down the order. Rashid will start on the fourth row of the grid alongside the Tuscan Nicola Lacorte for race 2 in just a moment. Let's go down to Laura, who's speaking with another Italian, one of four on the grid, Brando Badoia.
Avolo is racing and Prema cars ahead. You are flying the flag for Van Amersfoort Racing. How can you break the wall?
I will try to do what I've always done, so push to the limit, give the maximum effort, and use the opportunities, and we see what I can do.
Good luck.
The quietly spoken and increasingly tall Brando Badoia is the first non-US racing or non-Prema car on the grid. There is the grid. To the right of your screen is Ugo, who starts out of grid 2. He won race 1 yesterday, but it's the Londoner, Arvid Lindblad, who starts on pole position. Ugo out of 2. Jimmy James, a day after his 17th birthday, on grid 3. And Akshay Bora, P4, but position 3 on the podium yesterday in the first ever Euro 4 race. Kasper Stuka led right up until the final lap of the race yesterday, until he was passed by Ugo Chukwu. That was a stunning pass. Kasper started from pole position and came home in position 2. Starts out of grid 5 now alongside his teammate Zachary David, Nicola Lacorte, the Tuscan here in Tuscany, and Rashid Al-Daheri, who we just heard from a moment ago. The Emirati in the Yas Heat car starts out of grid 8. We go to Brando Badoia, the first non-US racing driver, or Prema driver for that matter. The VAR driver, grid 9, Gianmarco Pradel out of 10. Tuka Tappinen, Ivan Dominguez, also for the Van Amersfoort racing team. Better qualifying run for the Portuguese driver for race 2. Ricky Liu, Jack Beaton, Rafael Nadak, and Alfio Spinner. A great start yesterday, but was resigned to a DNF after an incident in the opening stages. Frederick Lund, Pablo Salazar, Tina Hausmann and Aurelia Nobels, the two girls on the 10th row off the grid for AKM Motorsport and Prema Racing, respectively. Behind them, Nandavid Bidambakti, the sole entrant for PHM Racing this weekend. David Larini, another Tuscan driver. Griffin Peebles, Matteo Quintarelli, the Emirati-based Italian driver for R-Race GP, out of grid 24. Diego De La Torre, the Mexican, and Ismail Ahmed, the Uzbek, on the final row of the grid, also for Van Amersfoort Racing. A great race yesterday. Kasper Stuka from pole position established a lead early on of 1.4 seconds. Ugo took chunks out of him towards the end of the race. Tried twice. The first attempt was unsuccessful. Intelligently, Ugo backed out of it and then took the race lead coming out of Borgo San Lorenzo, the third corner of the track on the final lap of the race. The McLaren Junior going on to win the first Euro 4 Championship race. There is the weather to the right of your screen. A warm day. We are expecting a top temperature of 36 degrees Celsius today. Race 3 to take place later this evening at 6:15 local time here in Italy. Track temperature yesterday was 55 degrees. Not quite that yet, but it is a warm morning here in the Italian sunshine in summertime. The first Euro 4 Championship race presented by WSK Promotion together with the Automobile Club of Italy, ACI Sport, under the direction of the FIA, which introduced the Formula 4 category back in 2013. There's been 23 Formula 4 championships racing or raced around the world. 17 currently active. The first was the Italian Championship in 2014, which was won by the current Aston Martin Grand Prix driver Lance Stroll for the Prema Racing team. A year later, Japan, the United Kingdom, China, Mexico all adopted the international Formula 4 category. Spain a year later, together with the United States and the United Arab Emirates. This is the Londoner Arvid Lindblad, who leads the Italian Championship, which is running concurrently with the Euro 4 Series. It's a 3-round championship. Ugo gets so close to the back of him. As we see Brando slowing. Brando, by the way, has got a problem. He's slowing on the final corner down into Buccine. Arvid on pole position, so Brando, by the way, the first non-US or Prema Racing car, has slowed before the start. The unluckiest driver in Formula 4 racing, Brando, by the way, has stopped on the circuit. A sensation, and it's not a good one for the Italian. Most likely we will have an aborted start. You can see the yellow lights flashing, the yellow flag waving under the direction of Mr. Alessandro Ferrari, who sends the cars around one more time. An aborted start. Brando, by the way, has stopped out on circuit. There's the US racing team. Now Brando, well, he's moving, but the circuit has got incredible elevation change, so he may just be rolling, trying to get it back into pit lane. We have got word from race control. The race has been reduced by 2 minutes, so it's now a 28-minute plus 1 lap race. Well, you make up your own mind. Is that car driving or is it just rolling down the hill? A very steep incline into the final corner, but it is uphill into pit lane if Brando can get some sort of drive. That's the entry to pit lane. He certainly won't make the start. That's real disappointment. And it looks as though the car was just rolling downhill. That's the entrance to the pit lane. Can you believe 2 meters ahead of the front wing of car 15. Brando Badoer from the 5th row of the grid, the 2nd generation racer out before the start. An extra formation lap. There's the Tuscan. Nicola Lacorte, race winner earlier on in the Italian series in Formula 4. This is the Emirati. The 16 nations represented here in the Euro 4 series. 5 Italians, and it's about to be 4 by the looks of it, because the team, the very professional team here at Mugello, beautifully run circuit, very well managed and organised. They're pushing the 15 Van Amersfoort racing car back into pit lane. Grid 9 for Brando Badoer. It won't be Gianmarco Pradel. The Sydney sider will have nobody alongside him. He'll have this driver just ahead of him, Rashid Al-Bahedi. There's Gianmarco just behind. Ugo, car 3, started grid 3 yesterday and took the first ever Euro 4 Championship race win with a stunning pass on Kasper Stuka, who starts out of grid 5 for US Racing. Just coming up into turn 15, Buccine, where Badoer stopped just a moment ago. He's down in pit lane. Van Amersfoort Racing trying to work desperately on the car and get Brando back into the race. At best, it will be a pit lane start. Arvid Lindblad, the Red Bull Junior from the Kings England, on pole position. Ugo just behind now pulls off. To his left, to your right, there is James Wharton just behind. And there is Brando, pushed back by the Van Amersfoort Racing team. There's the Auto Technica team. Normally bulletproof are these cars, but not for Brando here this morning. Ugo already aims the car down into turn 1. The German US Racing team. There's Alfio Spinner pulling into position. There is Gerhard Unger. That's the U in US Racing, former head of Mercedes Motorsport. with a long history of success, particularly in the DTM, back when the DTM was, well, the DTM, with all due respect. Ready for race 2, round 1 of the Euro 4 Championship. The green flag flies at the back of the grid. The 5 red lights for the second time here at Mugello. We race. Great start from Ugo, and he's followed by Akshay Bora, but now James Wharton accelerates. One of the Prima cars turned around in spectacular fashion. Tuukka Tappinen facing sideways on the main straight and miraculously avoided by the rest of the field. A lock-up on the outside as the US racing team drivers of Bora and Stuka. Akshay 31, Casper 37. There's Rashid. Good start from the Emirati as well, but Arvid Lindblad has gone through. I can tell you that Tuukka Tappinen is still parked horizontally on the start-finish straight. It's a local yellow just for the moment. As the field go down the hill for the first time, it is Arvid Lindblad from Ugo Ugachukwu, James in position 3 from Caspar, Akshay, Zachary David, so the US racing cars, there's 3 of them behind the 3 Prima racing cars. Good start again from Alfio Spinner as a safety car has been called onto the circuit because Tuukka Tappinen will try and get a shot of the fin. He's parked sideways on the start-finish straight. Good start for Jack Beaton as well. The Queenslander up into position 11 in the 45 Animal Sport racing car. And just now, finally, Tuukka Tappinen, you just got a glimpse. He was parked horizontally. The car incredibly avoided by the rest of the field. And he's back underway. But regardless, the safety car was already called. There was little choice. A car sideways on the start-finish straight. Arvid Lindblad with the race lead, having won the start. The VAR team go to work on Ivan Dominguez's car, and that's the reason why Tuukka was parked sideways, a new front wing. So it does, the safety car, this is give aid to the Portuguese driver for the Dutch team here in Italy in the Euro 4 Championship. And Ivan Dominguez, the driver from Fatima in Portugal, he will need a miracle as he rejoins down in 25th place. Yes, pun intended. Ivan Dominguez and Tuukka Tappinen coming together. We'll try and get a replay of what happened off the start. No problem for Lindblad, who does lead. The track is now clear. Dominguez is back. He will not go a lap down. He will rejoin just in time for the second race of the first round of the Euro 4 Championship here at Mugello. So now the safety car will pick up the leaders. Lindblad, Ugachukwu, Wharton, 1, 2, 3. Then it's Casper Stuka, Akshay Bora, who was 3rd yesterday in the first race. Zachary David, the Maltese-based Filipino driver, the former Sauber karting driver, together with Kart Republic. His P6, La Corte 7, Pradel up into 8. Here's Gianmarco Rashid, P9, and Spinner, the Sicilian, with a DNF yesterday. Made another great start in race 1, was pushed out into the gravel, ultimately did retire with damage to the underside of the BBM racing car. There is Il Siciliano, just ahead of Jack. Rafael Narak, just a couple of positions outside the top 10 for RACE-GP. Good pace this weekend from the Frenchman. Tuukka down into pit lane. The Prema Racing team go to work. And critically are checking the right rear. It looks more than anything. You can see the new set of Pirelli tyres going on, but they'll be checking the suspension and wishbones if there is any damage. And if the 2021 World Kart Racing champion, that was with the Tony Kart Racing team in the south of Spain, can get back into the race. There is Jack Beaton, one of 4 Australians in the field, the first of which is James Wharton, P3. The second is Gianmarco Pradel. Jack in position 11, and Griffin Peebles also in his field. He's in position 16, also for BVM Racing. The safety cars are coming in at the end of this lap. Ricky Liu, a DNF yesterday for the Chinese driver. Back on track in car 66 for the AKM Motorsport team. Now Lindblad starts to back the field up. The safety car accelerates away. They cannot pass until they pass the start-finish line. As per FIA regulations, that point clarified by our race director, Alessandro Ferrari, with us here on Thursday. Also in the driver's briefing, Arvid Lindblad cannot be passed unless he has an obvious problem until they pass the start-finish line, despite the despite the fact that the green flag will fly imminently. Ricky Lou ahead of Tuukka Tappinen. Ivan Dominguez back in the race. Brando Badoer is out. The green flag flies. Arvid Lindblad backs the field up. Now he accelerates. And we race green one more time. Just reminding you, they cannot pass until they pass the start-finish line. Lindblad again leads. As now they pull out just in time. James Wharton gets a fabulous run on his Prema Racing teammate Lindblad from pole position from the race lead. Under attack big time. What to move down the inside. Kasper Stuka. 3 cars in one corner if you don't mind, but he can't hold it. Ugo has gone through to take the lead. James up into second place. That's Bora in P2. It's all gone wrong for Arvid from pole position from the race lead. The Red Bull Junior now back in position 4, defending from Kasper Stuka. Zachary David down the inside. There's Rashid in the background. And Spinner making up places as well for BVM Racing. Super restart from Ugo Ugochukwu. James Wharton going through as well. But it's Bora up into second place. Sideways from Kasper Stuka. Almost threw it into the sand. And now he's got his teammate, Zachary David, on the outside. Zach will attack, and Kasper, who led the race right up until the final lap yesterday, has to cede the position to his teammate. Ugo Ugochukwu trying to go 2 from 2. Moved down the inside from Beaton Spinner. And the Sicilian fighting with the Australian, Van Amersfoort Racing, who are down 1 car with the retirement of Brando Badoer, who's still stuck down in pit lane. Now being led by Jack Beaton ahead of Alfio Spinner. There's Nicola Lacorte, the Tuscan here in Tuscany, trying to make up positions. At the moment, car 47 in position 7, trying to make a P6 on the back of car 37. Gianmarco Pradel from Sydney, Jack Beaton from Queensland behind the Emirati, Rashid Al-Bahedi. Ivan Dominguez, I'll explain that in a moment. He's got a penalty for using the cut through to come back into pit lane. He has not been black flagged. He's still in the race as we concentrate on Ugo Ugochukwu, who's still leading from Border. So Arvid Lindblad back into P4. There's Kasper Stuka defending from Nicola Lacorte, who looks good. Kasper a little bit sideways as they come out of Borgo San Lorenzo. Gianmarco Pradel just in the background. Is GP in position 9. In fact, he's just been passed by his countryman, Jack Beaton. Jack on the attack. He's gone through. And Beaton takes Pradel. Rashid Al-Bahedi for the Yas Heat team. He's right there as well. Spinner just behind. Rafael Narak. Frederick Lund up into P13. That's a much better run for the Costa Rican. Dane car 30 for Van Amersfoort Racing. Entered on the side of the circuit with a badly damaged Van Amersfoort Racing car yesterday, did Frederick. But he's ahead of Pablo Sarazan, Griffin Peebles, Aurelia Nobels, Tina Hausman, and another Tuscan driver, David Larini. Pablo Sarazan going through as Rashid almost puts it into the sand. It was almost game over for the Emirati. He may lose a position to Beaton, who looks good here this morning, but not as good as the American, who's leading by 0.7 of a second. As the field go down into Buccina, we settle into a rhythm. There is Lindblad, who locks up again. He did that multiple times yesterday. Lacorte, 47 in position 7. The first 4 back to Zachary David in P5 from Kasper Stuka. It is Ugo from Akshay, James and Arvid. The 2 Van Amersfoort Racing team drivers. Frederick Lund just ahead of Pablo Sarazan as Griffin Peebles pulls out and says, we'll make it 3 wide, boys. The Chinese-born Australian in the second BVM racing car In form here this morning is now Akshay Bora in second place. Sets off after the Queensland, after the American. Rashid Al-Baheri under attack big time. Finished P10 yesterday, but a jump start in the opening lap of the race, or from the start of the race, demoted the Emirati out of the points. There is Griffin Peebles. Nicola Lavini, father of David, former Grand Prix driver, second with Ferrari at the ill-fated San Marino Formula One Grand Prix on the 1st of May back in 1994, that infamous day. What's 3 decades or so ago now. The former Sauber Formula One driver here with his boy David Larini, who's in position 16, just ahead of Ricky Lou and none David Birambakti. Lindblad in P4. Then we go back to Zach, Stuka, Lacorte, Al-Baheri, Jack Beaton, Gianmarco Bradell, who takes a wide line in. Alfio Spinner locks up the front right. A DNF yesterday, remember, for Alfio. He went off the road in the opening lap of the race, was fed a wheel and ultimately into the gravel, damage to the underside of the first BBM racing car. At the moment, he's a position outside the points. Beaton locks up, Bradell goes through. Spinner, Rafael Nadal, car 76 for R-Race GP. Ugo Ugochukwu, the gap was down to 0.4 of a second, but a slight error from Bora means he's lost some time as the US racing teammates fight together. There's Casper on the outside, and now Ugo accelerates and puts in a 50.362. Zach in car 20, Casper in 37, Nicola Lacorte will try and take the both of them. Casper Stuka tries to do to his teammate what Ugo did to him in the final lap of the race yesterday. Lacorte in the background with 2 US racing cars ahead of him as Griffin Peebles in the background runs off the road. The self-policing gravel traps working brilliantly here. Aurelia Nobel's down into pit lane. The Ferrari Junior, a new front wing on car 16 for the Prema Racing team. There's her teammate, James Wharton, position 3. He'll start from pole position tonight for the final race of the first round of the Euro 4 Championship as we move into the second half of the second race. The first round here in beautiful sunshine in bellissima Toscana. Ugochukwu, Bora, Wharton, Lindblad, the 2 teammates, David, Stuka, and then it's Lacorte, Rashid, position 8. From the 2 Australians, Jack Beaton, Gianmarco Bradell, and Spinner still just a position outside the points in position 11. Much better run from Jack Beaton here. Car 45 he had, well, let's just say a forgettable race at Spa-Francorchamps in the Italian Championship. Ugo Ugochukwu, he was 3rd in the British Formula 4 Series in 2022. Akshay Bora also competing in the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Championship to start the season, which was won by James Wharton. Casper Stuka, well, he won the Formula Winter Series in the Iberian Peninsula for the US racing team at the start of 2023. Second year in car racing for Nicola Lacorte. What a moment just ahead. All sorts of sideways from Zachary David. A big moment there for the Filipino driver. Holds onto it nicely though. Lacorte will have seen that. He'll be frustrated that he wasn't close enough to capitalize. Al-Baheri in the background just from Beaton, Pradell, Spinner, Nurak, 2 positions outside the points. Here's Rafael, second year in car racing, competing in Formula Renault in his native France in 2022. Also in the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Series. The first ever European Formula 4 Championship. The 3-round series right here at Mugello this weekend. We go to the home of the Italian Grand Prix on September 17. And then the 3rd final round for 2023 concludes in Catalonia, Barcelona, and the home of the Spanish Grand Prix. That's October 22. The first Euro 4 Championship presented by WSK Promotion together with the Automobile Club of Italy. under the direction, of course, of the FIA, which introduced the Formula 4 class back in 2014. James in position 3, car 13, a day after his 17th birthday. Gives the slipstream ever so slightly to Arvid Lindblad. Just over 230 k's an hour as they come up the straight. Ugo still with the fastest lap of the race, a 50.172, almost breaking into the 49s as James locks up the front right, as Arvid did consistently yesterday. Arvid, remember, started this race from pole position, was swamped at the restart behind the safety car. Tuca Tappinen, incidentally, has rejoined. He's just behind Diego De La Torre. Ismail Ahmed in 22nd position. The gap exactly 1 second between Ugo and Akshay. James in P3. The former Paralin Motorsport team driver, 5th in the KZ2 World Cup. In the World Kart Racing Championships for James Wharton. All of these drivers, I'm trying to think almost without exception, okay, there's a couple. We have seen him WSK World Karting, of course, Ugo Chuko, as James locks up the front right. Former Euro champion, racing with Kart Republic. Border, also with Kart Republic. James Wharton with Paralin Motorsport. Arvid Lindblad, 5 times WSK Kart Racing champion. Zachary David, of course, formerly with the Sauber Kart Republic team. Kasper Stuka with Speed Kart and latterly Ward Racing. Nicola Lacorte still in position 7 in car 47. His father Roberto here at the circuit, not too far from their home in Pisa. Another entry for Roberto in the Le Mans 24-hour race. As we see Lindblad in the background trying to get the toe from James Wharton, but he's too far back. 0.4 of a second between the Australian and the Englishman. Then this battle rages on. Nicola Lacorte has a look at the back of Kasper Stuka, who led right up until just about that corner there yesterday in the final lap of the race. Ugo Chuko, the American driver, trying to go 2 from 2. Ironic that a driver from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean is leading the European Championship. The American driver with the Italian and Nigerian heritage. 3rd in the British Formula 4 Series in 2022. Nicola Lacorte, car 47 for Chitila Racing. So apart from the intervention of the safety car, when Tuca Tappinen, who is still circulating, still down in 22nd position, as Nicola Lacorte locks up the front right. As they come out of Corantayo, or into Corantayo. 12th corner on the circuit. There is Alfio Spinner, who locks up the front right, but apart from that safety car intervention, it has been a clean race here. There's Griffin Peebles, car 71, racing in the Spanish Formula 4 Championship largely in 2023. Great to see the various national series around the world represented in Formula 4. As Ugo Chuko, a McLaren Junior. The gap is down to 0.5 of a second now. Border in 2nd place, so it's not over yet. Akshay trying to go through. He's had multiple podiums in Formula 4, possibly. I'm trying to stretch my memory if there was a victory in the UAE series, but can he take a maiden breakthrough victory here on the continent? James just ahead of Lindblad. Lindblad did start from pole position. James in position 3. The United Arab Emirates Formula 4 champion on your screen in car 13. The Ferrari Junior in 3rd place. Border in 2nd. The McLaren Junior in position 1. Yes, Bora, there is confirmation. He's catching the American. Just over 8 minutes. Plus 1 lap remaining of this legendary circuit that is Mugello. 5.2 kilometres, 1 lap, which is about, 10% of the original lap length. The original Mugello Circuit, which was raced up until 1970, as James goes wide. And I'll leave the history aside for a moment. James Wharton almost threw it into the sand. And now Lindblad senses his opportunity to get back onto the podium. That was a big moment. Again, I'll say it again, the self-policing gravel traps. That's how you deal with track limits. James knew if he just went over that white line, his race would have been over. Had to relent, had to get out of the throttle. Gee, they work well, don't they? He holds on to third place. Lindblad, not quite close enough to capitalise. The Englishman behind the Australian, trying to get up onto the podium. The Red Bull Junior in position 4. Bora, right on the back of Ugo Chukwu, close enough to make a move. Ugo locks up the front right. Deadly quick is the American. A brilliant racer as well, but Akshay Bora has got the speed. Another 1/10 of a second, he's right on the back of car 3 for the Prema Racing team, US Racing. With the Singaporean, Indian, American driver. In fact, both drivers, despite their international family heritage, they're both from New York in the United States of America. They run 1-2 for the Prema Racing team and US Racing as well. Better sector from Ugo, pulls out a couple of car lengths. That's where he was good yesterday. James incredibly in the background, still holding off Lindblad. Akshay Bora, younger brother of Nikhil Bora, racing this weekend, also in the Formula Regional European Championship. Sensing an opportunity for his first victory in the Euro 4 Championship. James, slightly tighter that time. Locks up the front right. Still Al Dahedi, incidentally, in position 8 ahead of Jack Beaton, Gianmarco Gradel, Alfio Spinner, Rafael Nadal, Pablo Salazar, position 13. That's a good result for the second generation racer, Pablo Salazar. Car 4 for the Van Amersfoort Racing team. Quite an interesting link, or fascinating link. Pablo Salazar, son of Stefan Salazar, won Grand Prix start back in 1990, I reckon it was 99, the Brazilian Grand Prix, when he was substituting for the injured Luca Badoer. And a generation on, both Luca and Pablo racing together in the first round of Euro 4 Championship for Van Amersfoort Racing. As Lindblad gets ever so close to the back of James, it's on now in the dying stages of race 2, round 1, the Euro 4 Championship here in beautiful Italian sunshine in Bella Toscana. James incredibly still holding off the pole sitter. Just over 5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. So we suggest there's 3, possibly 4 laps remaining. James so close to the sand. Ugo decides it's time to accelerate and pull away from Border. The gap was down to 0 point nothing a few moments ago. It's out to almost 8/10 of a second once again. Wharton almost 3 seconds behind, but critically still on the podium. Lindblad, David, Stuka, Lacorte. This is none David Birambaki fighting with the AKM car. It's Larini, he's out. And we lose one of the US racing cars across into the grass as well. In fact, it was Della Torre, I'm sorry, Diego Della Torre in the other AKM motorsport car. As Kasper Stuka off into the grass. That was a big moment for the driver who started from pole position and led up until the last lap yesterday. Kasper Stuka in trouble. So it's kicking off in the dying stages. The track temperature up to 50 degrees Celsius. There is the Mexicans, 86 parked in the gravel. So for the moment, it is just a double waved yellow flag into turn 2, where the leaders are approaching now. Arvid cannot pass. You can see the dust still settling from that incident just a moment ago. There's the double-waved yellow flag. Once again, excellent officiating. We stay green and we try and race to the checkered flag. This is what happened. Nandavid Bidambakti from Thailand. Oh, right rear with the front left. Diego De La Torre, the Mexican, into the gravel. Tried to go by the Thai. Bidambakti, the sole entry for PHM Racing, kept the car in the middle of the circuit. The Mexican tried the outside, did not come off. Minor damage to car 86. He'll be back for race 3 tonight. But for the moment, his day is over. La Corte down the inside. This is what happened to Caspar. And the pole went rallycross. La Corte, as Diego walks back behind the pit wall, or behind the safety fence, I should say. La Corte has gone through. He's up into position 6. Double waved yellow flag in turn 2. It is Ugo Chukwu by just over half a second from border. Wharton, Lindblad, Zachary David, Nicola in P6, Rashid P7, Jack in position 8, Casper drops down to 9, and still Gianmarco Gradel in the points. He's in 10th place. We stay green. This is excellent officiating from our race director, Mr. Alessandro Ferrari. No safety car. For the moment, just a double waved yellow flag, and we try and race green to the checkered flag. As border, one last attempt. And the 2 drivers from New York for US Racing and Prema respectively. Ugo makes car 3, beat down into San Donato. Akshay tries the back of Ugo. US Racing would love to get a victory here this morning. They may well do it. There is the double waved yellow flag. This is the part of the circuit where Ugo is awesome. Gets the drive, gets the run, pulls out 2 car lengths right there. Border quick in the second part of the lap. 90 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. The second race, the first round of the all-new Euro 4 Championship for 2023 here at Mugello. Down the hill, the far part of the circuit into Arrabbiata 1, Arrabbiata 2. The 2 corners whose name literally translate into Angry 1, Angry 2. Then down into Scarparia, named after the local town where the original circuit used to race right up until 1970. Look how wide Ugo goes. Millimetre perfect from the American who accelerates. It may be over for Bora as James just tries to bring it home to the checkered flag. We've got Prema 1, 3 and 4. US Racing, can they take a victory? At the moment, it looks as though Ugo will go 2 from 2. Casper Stuka still in the race in P9 between the 2 Australians. Jack Beaton, Gianmarco Gradel, Rashid up into P7. Lacourt 6, Zachary David 5. Lindblad position 4, started from pole position. We'll have 2 more laps as they just cross the line in time. Ugo will withstand the pressure, does not mind at all. The McLaren Junior, Emanuele Pirro, the 5-time Le Mans 24-hour winner and now head of the McLaren Junior Development Program, here at the circuit, arriving this morning to see his protege, the team member, Ugo. They go through the double yellow flag section. Emanuele hoping, observing to see if Ugo can fly the flag for the McLaren team, who had a stunning run in qualifying. Lando Norris, former competitor in the British F4 series, as was Oscar Piastri. Lando also racing a couple of rounds in the Italian series as well, both former competitors in International Formula 4. And they're second and third on the grid as Nicola Lacorte throws away. Oh, how disappointing. He was in position 6, he's in the gravel. Lacorte is out on the final, well, the penultimate lap of the race. Last lap next time round. Heartbreak for the Tuscan. Muscled his way by Casper Stuka just a few moments prior. But now Nicola Lacorte on the penultimate lap ends in the gravel at the exit of San Donato down into turn 1. Last lap for the American, tried to go 2 from 2. This is what happened. Lecorte locked up the front right as so many drivers have been doing. Zach David just behind. In fact, he'd gone through, he'd taken B5 away from the Filipino driver. Zach still in position 5 as Ugo starts the last lap of the race. The gap is 1 second. Akshay won't do it. Down into turn 1. There is a double waved yellow flag from that point to the exit of Porto San Lorenzo. Lindblad can't attack Wharton yet. There is the double waved yellow flag. There is Lecorte's car 47 buried in the sand. The Tuscany's out. Out of Porto San Lorenzo into Matarassi. Down into Casanova. This incredibly undulating circuit, home of the Italian Motorcycle Grand Prix, home of the Tuscan Formula One Grand Prix in 2020, and the host venue for the world's newest junior single-seater series, the Euro 4 Championship. And it looks as though the American Ugo Ugochukwu will take a commanding lead into the final race of the first round here this evening at Mugello. Ugo Ugochukwu with a stunning last lap pass on Kasper Stucker in race 1 yesterday. A brilliant restart from behind the safety car in the early stages of this race. Albert Lindblad on your screen started from pole position. At the moment, the Englishman is off the podium. James Wharton, the Ferrari Junior, still in 3rd place. Ugo will win 2 in a row. Out of turns 12, 13, down into Mucine for the final time. Border too far back, can't attack. Prema position 1, US Racing position 2. All the way from the USA, and the McLaren Junior, Ugo Ugochukwu, goes 2 from 2 here at Mugello. He wins race 2 of the Euro 4 Championship. A stunning start to the new series. Border across the line in 2nd place. James, the Ferrari Junior, holds off the pole sitter Arvid Lindblad for the final step of the podium. Zach David for US Racing in P5. Rashid comes home just in position 6. There's Sadazan on the outside of Rafael Narak. The 2 French drivers. Spinner goes through. The Sicilian takes the final point. Good drive from both Rafael and Pablo. Head of Frederick Lund, Griffin Peebles, Ricky Liu. But Ugo Ugochukwu, car 3, started grid 2, won race 1 yesterday, has taken his 2nd victory in the opening round of the Euro 4 Championship here at Mugello. Well, he may be one of the tallest drivers in the world of junior single-seater car racing, if not motorsport altogether, but he's also one of the quickest. Lightning quick, in fact, is Ugo Ugochukwu. The McLaren Junior takes the victory by 1.1 seconds over Akshay Bora, and James Wharton home in 3rd place. For the American. Ugo from Akshay, James in 3rd, Arva the pole sitter. He'll be disappointed with that. He'll have another chance this evening. James Wharton to start from pole position, incidentally, for race 3 this evening. Lindblad, David, Rashid Al-Daheri, Jack Beaton. His best result in Formula 4, his 7th from Kasper Stucker, Gianmarco Pradel, Spinner. The 2 Frenchmen, Narak, Sadazan, Frederick Lund, Peebles, Ricky Liu, good result for him after a DNF yesterday. Lardini, Quintarelli, Tappinen does recover for position 18 after being parked sideways off the start. Another good, strong result from Akshay Bora. Didn't take the win, attacked Ugo twice, but the American under control here in beautiful sunshine at Mugello, just congratulated by his teammate, the Ferrari Junior, congratulates the McLaren Junior, who goes 2 from 2 and a commanding lead after 2 of 9 races in the Euro 4 Championship. That's James Wharton. It was, speaking with his father Shane, Ugo Ugochukwu. We'll hear from him in just a moment. James Wharton holds off the pole sitter Arvid Lindblad, the Ferrari Junior, the final step of the podium. Great drive from Akshay Bora for US Racing in position 2. But his second victory of the weekend, the McLaren Junior Car 3, Ugo Ugochukwu wins again here at Mugello, and he's down with Laura Cola in pit lane.
So another important victory for you.
Yeah, what can I say? Another great race. Started P2, but at the safety car restart, I managed to take the lead. And then from there on, I was just pushing as much as I could to extend the gap. Bora was really quick midway through the race. He was closing in a lot with the slipstream, so I had to push really hard in the middle sector to get away. But overall, yeah, really happy to get another win. Big thanks to the whole team, and we keep pushing for race 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Race 2, the first round of the Euro 4 Championship. Arvid Lindblad from pole position got a good start, as did Ugo Ugochukwu from the outside of the front row of the grid, as Tuukka Tappinen was turned around in spectacular fashion off the start. That brought out the safety car as Lindblad led the field down into turn 1. A clean start with the exception of the Finn, who would ultimately rejoin and finish in 18th position. At the restart, it was James Wharton, Ugochukwu, Kasper Stuka, who all swamped the Englishman. He was under attack big time. Kasper with the most ambitious move, trying to go for the lead from position 5. He was briefly up into second place. It all went wrong for Lindblad. He was back to P5 momentarily. Held on to the outside in position 4, where ultimately he would finish. Diego De La Torre running into the back of none other than Birambakti, trying to go by the tie. The Mexican parked in the sand and was out. Border. In fact, Nicola Lacorte holding off Zachary David as Border closed in on the back of Ugo Ugochukwu. He took victory in race 1 yesterday, and he's done it for the second time this weekend. The McLaren Junior, 2 wins from 2 starts in the first round of the Euro 4 Championship. James in third place, Akshay second, and Ugo on the top step once again. Mr. Giancarlo Minardi, the legendary former Formula 1 team owner, presents the third place trophy to James, second place to Akshay, and first place to Ugo. A lot of talk that AlphaTauri will change their name for 2024. Will we see the Minardi name of Giancarlo back in Formula 1? Well, stay tuned. Two wins from 2 starts for Ugo Ugochukwu. The other 25 drivers will have another chance to go position 1. That's race 3, the opening round of the Euro 4 Championship. The driver who finished third, James Wharton, will start from pole position. We'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight.